Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is MrYorkiesWorld. Welcome back, finally, to the channel. We are today going to be flying with a Jet2 Boeing 737-800 from here at East Midlands, which is UK 2000 scenery, over to Aerosoft's Heraklion, or Crete, which is in Greece. This is the exact flight, LS625, that I flew on just over a week ago. I've had to reinstall the sim. I've got an upgraded graphics card. I've got the 1080 Ti now. I've also got some new cockpit sounds for the 737, as well as a few other excellent things that have been going on. I've had to downgrade to P3D 4.2, however, because of performance. I just cannot get on with 4.3. But nevertheless, we are back in the cockpit. Hopefully this is going to be the start of some brand new videos. We've got the flight there and we've got the flight back to do. So let's go ahead, and we've already set the parking brakes, so that's all good. We can set the fuel, and we're going to be taking 28,013 pounds worth of fuel today. You'll have to excuse me, as always, my voice is not the best today. It's coming on to Christmas time, well, sort of the end of the year time, if you will, and this time of year is always not very good. It's never very good for me when it comes to getting colds, coughs, sore throats. So our flight altitude is 370. We're going to align the IRSs to nav. Again, the flight today is actually quite a lengthy flight. It's a 4-hour and 12-minute flight approximately. I'm hoping that Pro ATCX doesn't try to give us the wrong runway for landing. We're aiming for runway 27, and if it gives me something else, I'm literally just going to disconnect Pro ATCX and just take runway 27, because that's the runway they use over there, I believe.
EGNX-LGIR via the Takeoff departure, and then climb to flight level 80. Expect
flight level 80.
10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency is 1.1.8.
Close the catering doors.
QNH 1008.
Cleared via BPK2 Papa, climb to flight level 80. Expect flight level 370 within 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 120.1.8.
We are at gate 15 today. I'm trying not to talk over this readback of the information there to ATC, but nevertheless. So, route EGNX-LGIR is our route today. And we are, of course, going to be using runway 09 by the looks of it. Yep. So 09. Flight number is Lima Sierra 625. The return flight is going to be Lima Sierra 626. We can execute that. Zero fuel weight 121.8. Our reserves are going to be 1.02. Cost index, I actually have no idea what Jet2 use, so I'm going to put 30 in there. 370 on the cruise altitude. And 6,000 on the transition altitude. I believe that's the same over there as well on landing. That's what we're going to use anyway, so if it's wrong, it's wrong. I'm really not bothered. 24k D rate with flaps 5 we're going to be using. Work out our centre of gravity, and we can get some wind information as well. Just bear with me a moment. So 080 at 9 knots. That gives us a V2 speed of 149. Put that in there. We can configure the departure, which is the Bravo Papa Kilo 2 Papa. Just check it for any discontinuities, which there aren't any. That's brilliant. That's all completed. We've got our V-speeds there, that's alright. And updates are apparently ready for Adobe Reader. I do apologise about that. I've also got a frame rate counter in the bottom right-hand corner. That's going to be switched off shortly, actually. I should have done that before we started the flight. But I've got some new cockpit sounds. Some immersion packs that I've purchased for the engines and for the cockpit, so you'll notice them throughout the flight. And again, we are using the GTX 1080 Ti. I've also overclocked my CPU now, the 4790K, so we should be running with a little bit more performance. 4.2 is the only system that seems to be working without any major stutters, so I've had to go back to that. So we're literally just waiting for the boarding of the passengers and the baggage now, which is 17% complete. So, see, we do get a few stutters, but not many. So I will catch up with you guys in just a few moments. Okay, so the baggage handling has been completed. We did have to reset GSX and Pro ATCX, so our initial altitude is now 7,000 feet instead of 8,000. We had a bit of an issue with that. It's still a little bit buggy because I'm not using 4.3, but I can't do anything about it because 4.3 is just horrendous to work with. I'm going to be sticking with 4.2 probably until the next version of P3D now.
Request startup and pushback.
Test the TCAS.
Startup and pushback approved.
We've been approved for startup and pushback, so arm the auto throttle. Anti-collision and the hydraulics. TCAS has passed, that's all good. I am using a new joystick and throttle system. I forgot what to say then. A new joystick and throttle system. It's the Thrustmaster HOTAS 1. It's compatible with the Xbox One, but I obviously use it for the PC only because I don't really use it for the Xbox One. I don't have any games on there that I can use it for. Nevertheless, the pushback truck is just there.
Good day, sir. Just waiting for some open traffic while the duck's position. Be pushing back in a couple of minutes.
10:13 AM it is over here in the UK. Parking brake's already set, that's good. Really excited. If you look on the add-on spreadsheet at the time of making this video, which is the 11th of October, you'll notice that this airport and LGIR, Heraklion, are the only airports that I've currently got installed. Everything else is sort of going to have to wait until I get round to it. I've had a horrendous time getting the sim to actually work this well and solving a vast amount of problems over the past few days and weeks.
Release parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Clear behind. Commencing push. Engines clear. Start at your discretion.
Engine 2. We'll wait while 25% or thereabouts. Not really bothered about exacts over here on the MrYorkiesWorld channel, as many of you already know. So about there will do it, I think. I'll let you listen to these new sounds. Not much different, but there is a tiny bit of a difference, especially in the cockpit. You can notice them a lot better in the cockpit. Just waiting for engine number 1 now. So same procedure, about 25% N2, or I tend to do it about now. We still do get a few stutters, but not as bad as what it is in 4.3 with the exact same setup.
Push now complete. Set parking brakes, please.
Right, okay, so parking brakes, they can be set. And we can, of course, switch on the probes. Just waiting for engine number 1 to fully spool up, and then we can switch them both to continuous. There we go. Transfer the power. Continuous. Packs on. APU bleed off. APU off.
Unlocking the gear.
We can set flaps 5. And we can sort the trim out as well. Nice and central, there we go. Flaps on the way down. Like so. And we can also do a quick control check. So let's bring up the controls page. There we go. Full left. Full right. And we can test out full forward, full back, and the rudder full left and full right. There are no control spikes with this new joystick, which is the main thing I was trying to eliminate by upgrading that.
EGNX-625, request taxi.
EGNX-625, taxi via November, Mike Golf to runway 09er.
We can switch on the taxi and turn off lights.
Runway 09er, EGNX-625.
Parking brakes released, and nice gentle acceleration. And by now you should be able to notice those new sounds. They do sound quite immersive. Still a little bit of stutter, but to be honest, I'm happy with this. It's mainly a CPU intensive program. I knew for a fact when I was upgrading my GPU that it wouldn't make a massive difference, but it's about time I started to do that. And the GPU is the second most important thing I need to upgrade. In order to upgrade my CPU, I'd need a new motherboard, so I sort of decided to do the GPU first. And sort of make do with it for now. Plus the CPU, the 4790K, you can get some pretty good overclocking out of as well. So we're getting about 45 frames a second, 46, around about that, which I'm pretty happy with. It's definitely an improvement. Nice wing view. 60 FPS with a wing view. It's obviously the virtual cockpit that just takes up a lot of the performance there. 10:18 AM. That's local time. And it looks as if we're doing a pretty good job of sticking to the taxiway as well. Something I always fail to do. So it's good to be back before we turn off this annoying FPS counter on the bottom right, which I will do in a second. It's good to be back. Really enjoying it so far. Done a few test flights just to make sure everything's working. And yeah, so expect to see many more videos coming finally on a permanent basis. So in the meantime, I will see you guys in a few seconds when I've sorted a few things out. Okay, so there we go. I've turned off the FPS counter.
625, contact tower on 124.0.
124.0, EGNX-625.
I've turned off the FPS counter purely and simply because it's a little bit of an annoyance and it takes away a little bit of the immersion from the sim, so that's the reason why I've turned it off. Right, so we're going to be slowing down to about 10 knots, there we go. Keeping it around 10, maybe a bit more, just as we make this right turn. Little bit of stutter there, not much I can do about it.
Tower EGNX-625, holding short of runway 09er.
EGNX-625, line up runway 09er.
Lining up
Okay, so we'll be cleared to line up, so TARA, landing lights, taxi lights off, and the strobe lights can come on. Little bit of power. I've been thinking about using X-Plane as well. Let me know what you think about that. I have purchased X-Plane and I've tried the Zebo mod 737. I can't quite get along with it yet. I've also got like X camera as well. I need to sort that out. But nevertheless, let's focus on lining the aircraft up. On runway 09. There we are.
625, wind 080-9er, runway 09er, cleared for takeoff, good flight.
Start the clock, clear for takeoff, 40%.
EGNX-625.
Looking stable. Toga. Hopefully my rotation won't be very spiky, if you will, like it was with my previous joystick. Trying to keep that centre line. Got a nice headwind. That's V1. And rotate nice and gently. There we go. Positive rate, gear up. And look at that view. Now it's the sun that's going to take a lot of the frames up. It's going to take a hell of a lot of FPS up that. Nevertheless, following the flight director, lock the gear, auto brake off. We can set the engines to off and runway turn-offs off. Autopilot on. Looking nice and stable. Seatbelts to auto. Coming up on the flaps 1 speed, so we'll go to flaps 2. And then we can go to flaps 1. There we go. You can see the scenery is a lot better. I got a hell of a lot of pop-in version 4.3. And it was all blurry on the ground as well. So now it actually looks a lot more realistic than it did. Bit of a shame that I've had to downgrade, but not a great deal I can do about that, I'm afraid. 4,000 feet now. 10:24 AM. Nice window view. Not a great deal to see, but looks a bit better than what it did before. Coming up on 5,000 feet. There's the sun, which is going to cause a massive FPS drop for some bizarre reason. 90 on the flight altitude. Coming up on 6,000, so we can go standard pressurization. And we're looking good. Some nice clouds, bit of haze in the background as well. Not perfect visibility, but makes for a unique flight, I suppose. Lovely wing view. It's like all the buildings as well and the trees, they weren't there in 4.3 for some reason. It had a hell of a hard time rendering them all. So, and that was even on a fresh installation of Windows and P3D. So I thought, no, I'm going to downgrade. I've had problems ever since 4.3 came out, so I am literally just going to wait until the next version of P3D comes out. So, LGIR, we can set our radius rings of 50, 100 and 150 miles around the airport. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our departure. Look at that. Now that is what I was missing. You can see the buildings, you can see the scenery, the trees, everything. Absolutely fantastic. So, we're at 9,000 feet. We're at a stable speed, although it is slightly over 250 knots. No biggie, to be honest. So, with that, I will catch up with you guys a little bit later on into the flight. And I'm going to leave you with some absolutely fantastic cinematics on the way over to Greece. So without further ado, I will see you guys in a bit.
Standing to flight level 160, 1370.
Okay guys, so we are about ready to begin our descent. If we go and have a look down here, we can see that we are just approaching the 150 mark. 150 mile mark. It's 1440. So we're going to go over to Pro ATCX and hope that they give us runway 27. If they don't, I will be not very happy. 250.
Flight level 250.
I don't think we're going to find out until we're a little bit closer, but I've got a funny feeling they're going to try sending us to the runway which is not used for general aviation and for airliners such as ourselves. Commercial, should I say. So in that case, we will be manually taking control. We'll be disabling Pro ATCX and the Ultimate Traffic Live for the landing onto runway 27. Nothing major, but it is just the fact that I know that I landed on that runway and I want to land on that runway again. So minimums is 314, auto brake 2 we can use. We've already set everything in that we need to set in. There's not much else we can really do. Apart from wait, that's all we've got to do. We've got to wait. So we're going to use level change, I think, just to control our descent. Try not to use vertical speed, because level change is a little bit better. Meaning it controls both the engines and the descent rate, which is a bit better than having to manually do it using vertical speed. Right, okay, so 1510 we should be arriving at LGIR. I can't find any options in Pro ATCX to allow us to choose our arrival, so we're just going to use the FMC to manually choose our arrival onto runway 27, which is going to be RNAV 27. Don't know what star we're going to be using, so we're just going to do it manually, which is not what they would do in the real world, but as I always say, this is not the real world, so we will manage. Right, so that's all set up. 260 knots at the moment, creeping to 261. Oh no, there we go, going back down again. Lovely wing view. We are over the ocean at the moment. Nice reflection there with some clouds in the background. Little island down there on the left of the plane. I'm not sure what that is, but it looks quite nice. I would give just about anything to be back on a plane and going somewhere else right now. What I will do while I'm at it, I might as well go down to the FMC and configure the flaps that we're going to be using, which is always going to be flaps 30 at 141. Seems like an appropriate flap usage, if you will. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. So I will catch up with you guys when we are ready to land over at runway 27. See you in a bit. Okay guys, so we're taking a bit of a strange approach. This is manual. This is all manual for runway 27. We've programmed in with the approach. We've sort of programmed in the artificial localizer and the glide slope or whatever you have to do. I am sort of new to this. I don't really do many VOR, DME, RNAV approaches. But according to what I've read, an RNAV is basically the same as an ILS once it's been correctly programmed into the system. So the aeroplane will not use a physical ILS, but it will calculate it based on the data that's in the FMC. So, but at the moment we are sort of taking it manually, hoping that it captures the glide slope and the localizer. VOR lock. Bit of a steep turn, or a sharp turn should I say, so we're not really going to be able to... Oh, where are we going? Where are we going? No, I think we do need VOR lock, to be honest. I think that was going to try and take us a little bit more to the left so we could have a longer final, but we should be able to manage. Flaps 10. We are going a little bit fast for flaps 10. But it's nothing major. We're not going dangerously over speed. Going to take the speed down to about 200. Approach hold is on. We've got the localizer. Looking good. There's the runway. Just to make sure, we have got flaps 30 at 140 now, not 141. Turning back onto the localizer now. Glide slopes captured. We can go flaps 15 and gear down. 2500 checked. Looking good. Try and bring that speed down a little bit. Some more flaps should do it. 25 and 30. There we go. We can see them coming out. All the lights are configured. Engines are on continuous. Speed brakes armed, auto brakes set, gear down, 3 greens. We're not going to be using ATC because we've disabled that. And we've also disabled Ultimate Traffic Live just for the landing because they both control each other. And with me not using Pro ATCX for the landing, I don't want a random aircraft just appearing on the runway when I'm trying to land. It would sort of take away a bit of immersion. So, although disabling traffic will also take away the immersion, I am prepared to take that sacrifice. Looking stable. I will aim to disconnect at 1,000 feet. Of course, whether or not that happens, that will be a whole new story. Right, so we're looking good. Nice wing view. Little bit of stutter, but nothing major. Coming up on 1,000. There we go. And with that, we can disconnect. The aircraft is now mine. This new joystick is a hell of a lot better. It's the HOTAS 1 by Thrustmaster. It's a lot better in terms of getting rid of the lag spikes and things like that. The only problem is that it's quite sensitive, so tiny movements are needed. Try not to get too low. We're a little bit to the left. We need to be further to the right. A little bit high. Now we're a little bit low. Let's try and bring that back. Continue. A little bit low.
150, 30, 20, 10.
And touchdown. Reverses. Decel. Keeping the centre line. 60 knots, manual braking. We'll take this rapid exit to the left here. Again, we're not using ATC. And then we can have a look at some of those replays in just a second. See how it went. Bring it to a nice controlled stop. We haven't really got a threshold line, so... Oh yeah we have, here we go. Bring it to a reasonably controlled stop. Nowhere near the line, but that'll do. And with that, we can set the parking brake and have a look at some of those replays. Alright, so the touchdown was firm but not firm, if you get me. It sounded like it was with the sound effects, but it wasn't actually that firm. It was the nose wheel that we should have sort of lowered a little bit slowly. A bit more slowly. Right, okay, so flaps up. I haven't assigned a key for the flaps yet on the joystick, like the other one. It's a slightly different design, so there's plenty of buttons to be messing around with. I have to get that sorted, but there we go with the flaps. They're on the way up. We can open the APU bleed, start the APU, probe heats off. VORs, traffic and data. Flight directors, both sides. What else? 15:21 is the current time. There's 13 suitable park-ins. I think we will indeed go for number 14. Or should we go for 15? No, 14's fine. There we go. We can see the trucks and everything appearing. Now these parking spaces are a little bit iffy. They're a little bit strange. Let's just switch over these frequencies. Turn off the transponder. Clear that warning. We can apply a little bit of power. Pretty awesome scenery, to be honest. Right. So it's number 14. And I have absolutely no idea how to park in one of these weird things, so this is going to be very interesting. I think number 14 is ahead of us, so we're going to switch off the taxi and turn-offs a little bit early. And what was that I just switched off? Let's just... There we go. Right, so if we make the left-hand turn... Let's just have a top-down view. Right, okay. There's the marshaller. Right. So I'm going to turn left here, just try and follow this line. We're going to probably destroy everything in our path. There's the duty-free section, if anybody fancies some duty-free. Let's try not to take the wing off. I think we might have already. Oh, there he is. Right, okay. So what do I do? Do I go where that number 14 is? Oh, no, no. Right, okay, so it looks as if... I'm not going to go to the 14. I'm just literally just going to turn... Here we go. This is the poorest parking I've ever done on the channel. I'm literally going to leave it there. I don't want to run anybody over. Parking brake set. I bet you it's going to tell me that wasn't very good parking. It wasn't, so I'm not going to argue. Transfer the power. Engines cut off for the first time in 4 hours. Emergency lights off, seatbelts, all that lot. Hydraulics off. In reality, you would leave the anti-collision light on for a while, but I haven't done. Ground connections, we're going to connect ground power and everything. And we can, of course, select ground power. Oops, wrong button. There we go. Right, okay, so we're going to request deboarding. IRSs can come off. Welcome, everybody, to Crete, or Heraklion. Just waiting for me to open up the cargo, which I will do now. Main exits. Cargo. There we go. And with that, people, welcome once again to Heraklion in the lovely island of Crete. Hope you enjoyed the flight. This has been Jet2 625. We have travelled approximately 1,867 miles, covering 4 hours. And we're going to be doing the return flight next on the channel as well. So look forward to that, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Again, I'm back. Hopefully I'm going to stay back. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.